B-boy. From the old to the new, still a B-boy. Too bold for the school, still a B-boy. East Coast to the West, B-boys worldwide. We supposed to be blessed, still a B-boy.
This week, we're heading to New Jersey to talk about one of hip-hop's biggest hit makers of the 90s. Although they made massive hit songs that soccer moms in the suburbs played in their van, they also kept it street, gritty, and real. Their main member is arguably a top 10 MC of all time. This week, top 10 Naughty by Nature songs. Joining me, as always, my co-host Raven Hunter. And back again for the second time, we got Ben Neumann in the house. As always, I will start, and I'm going to go to the year 1993 off of 1993 album. And I'm going with Knock 'Em Out the Box, because this is the first time we hear the Rotten Rascals, who I became huge fans of. And for those who don't know, Diesel, the Rotten Rascals, is Treach's brother. But he didn't just get put on because he was brother. The Rotten Rascals are amazing, I think, and it was a great intro for them. Plus, it's got that great Slick Rick sample in the hook from Children's Story, Knock 'Em Out the Box. As with all early Naughty albums, the whole album's produced by KG. And, this album cover I want to talk about is so simple, right? But it's so iconic. It's a really iconic cover. And they're just on a white, kind of similar to Ice-T's Power, right? They're just behind a white wall, but it just says so much, them standing there. So Knock 'Em Out the Box for the introduction of Rotten Rascals was mine, number 10. Raven, what's yours?
So I went to 2002's Icons, which is an album that I don't love, but I went with Rah Rah featuring Rotten Rascals. The beat, it speaks for that time. Like C Murder, there were so many artists in the late, like 99 to 2002 that was doing that like da type shit. And Black Rob, shit like that. And I love Rotten Rascals. So we have talked about them a few times before. Their album is so fucking underrated, and I'm really sad we didn't get more music from them. But yeah, Rah Rah, just because it's indicative of its time.
Well, Icons definitely felt different because KG had left the group then, where you
Yep.
had this same sound, for 4 albums. Well, 5 if you count New Style. But that was my problem with Icons. It just kind of seemed all over the place production-wise. That was probably my least oh, no. The Anthems was my least favorite. But as far as the halfway decent albums, that was my least favorite. But I do have one honorable mention off of there. Ben, what is your number 10?
That is crazy. I'm going with Icons Rah Rah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I thought Icons was a solid record, and I really wanted to get something off it, and that song with the Rotten Rascals really kind of stuck out to me above the rest, so I went with that one.
Wow, guys on the same wavelength. And I'm glad other people appreciate the Rotten Rascals, because like you said, that Rotten to the Core album, oof,
so good.
so good. It sucks. I wish I could have got to the level Naughty. Just amazing. All right, number 9, and I'm staying in the year 1993, but I'm not going to that record. I'm going to the Poetic Justice soundtrack, Poor Man's Poetry. This was the soundtrack for the movie with Tupac and Janet Jackson, where Janet supposedly had him take an AIDS test before she'd kiss him on screen. But I thought this song was the highlight of the soundtrack. It's a faster beat, faster flow, and of course Treach kills it. But even Vinny flows fast over it and sounds fine too. Similar to Biggie's Juicy, it ends with "Gonna blow up like the World Trade Center," except then they have news reports from the 93 bombing, and I just thought, man, that didn't age very well. But this is an underrated Naughty song. I don't think people think about this, so I had to get it on the list. Poor Man's Poetry. That's my number 9. What's yours, Raven?
Well, I'm going to stay in 93 with you, and I'm actually going to piggyback off your last with Knock 'Em Out the Box, speaking of Rock and Rascals. 1993 it's my least favorite of those first 3 or 4 albums. But it still had some solid shit on there. And like you said, it introduced us to the Rascals. And I just love those guys. I can't say that enough. It's like another group like Illegal that you just don't hear about that you should.
Exactly. They give you one dope album. And then I interviewed Diesel on the podcast, like in season 1 or 2. And they had a whole nother album completely done like a year later, and record company shit, it just got shelved. Oh man, I was like,
I
fuck,
wish that shit would leak. Just put that out
yeah,
now. Fucking
yeah,
leak it. Who
man,
cares?
leak it. Yeah, what does it matter to him? Yeah. Ben, what's your number 9?
I'm going to the self-titled with "Wickedest Man Alive." I had the OPP maxi single, and then OPP kind of just was everywhere, so it got a little sickening at a point in time. And then this was the other track on there, and I just dug the Latifah's like reggae vibe that she brought to it. So I just Treach is flowing, so I've always dug that song.
That was an honorable mention. And speaking of Latifah, Naughty was part of the Flavor Unit, which
Yep.
was Latifah's cast of MCs, along with like Apache, who I'm going to talk about later. Talking about people who have one album that aren't remembered, Apache. That Apache Ain't Shit album, damn. But
That's a great album. You're right.
that's such
I
a
just
good
want to throw that
album.
out there.
Such a good record. All right, number 8. And I'm going to go to 1991 self-titled album. And you mentioned it. I'm going to go with OPP. It had to get on the list because this was almost more than a hit. It was like pop culture changing. And even though it was a huge crossover hit, if you're listening to it, he's talking about cheating, being unfaithful. I think half the suburban kids didn't even know what OPP meant. That's why it's funny that it blew up to me because it's all about cheating on your significant other. And everyone's just like, yeah, you know me. But it's a simple beat and memorable hook. The video is iconic to me where it just starts with a guy taking off his wedding ring and dropping it. And when the ring hits the floor, the beat kicks in. Just so much. Also wanted to bring up Dr. Dre and Ed Lover of UMTV Raps did a parody called Down with MTV, where they rapped on it and Todd One rapped on it. Look that up, guys. I looked it up and it didn't age as well as I remembered it, but it was still a fun song. After writing all my notes for this, I thought, hey, wait, my ex-wife was down with OPP. That's why I'm divorced. That was my number 8. Raven, what's yours?
OPP.
Oh,
I'm gonna be right there with you on that one. Everything you said hit the nail, and struck a chord, unfortunately, all the way down to the ex-wife thing. But yeah, I just remember being like in the 5th grade or something when the song came out, and every white person in my little 5th grade school like screaming, "Yeah, you know me," or "You know what?" And like, but they'd like take your pencil and then start singing it, and I'm just like, yeah, if people only knew what that
yeah.
song ended up actually fucking meaning. But no, it was everywhere. It's still everywhere. Like you can still catch it in movies from the early '90s and shit if you rewatch some of that shit, especially if it's Tommy Boy related.
Treach was even telling you what it was.
Yeah,
The
right
first two
in the
letters,
lyrics.
yeah, it rhymes with meanest and I mean, he spelled that shit out for you. They still didn't know what I mean. Yeah, it was too iconic to not make my list. And you know what? When it plays, I sing along. It's just one of those things. Number 8, Ben. OPP?
No, I'm going with Uptown Anthem, and I'm going to say it's from the Juice soundtrack just because I don't want it to look like I favored the first record so much. But I mean, that's a classic tune right there. So
Absolutely. The beat, the everything. And Treach made a cameo in Juice. All right, we are to 7. And for the first time, I'm going to the year 1995's Poverty's Paradise. This album aged really well, I thought. And talk about Rotten Rascals, I'm going with the song Click Clow, Click Clow. It's a great posse track that's not only Rotten Rascals, but the Road Dogs and Cruddy Click, who they're helping push at that time. And everyone kills their verse. It's just what all good posse tracks should be. And it's got that hard ass mid 90s East Coast beat, that gritty, grimy. And man, Poverty's Paradise really held up good. I mean, the self-titled will probably always be number 1. But Poverty's Paradise, some could maybe argue is the better record. I don't know. But I thought it held up much better than like 1993 did. So clow, clow. I don't say that very intimidatingly. 7, Raven, what do you got?
So in my opinion, their self-titled album is their best album, but Poverty's Paradise is without a doubt my favorite album from them. Anyway, number 7, Wickedest Man Alive with Queen Latifah. And it's funny because it's actually some of the same reasons my man said. I had that cassette tape, and we played side B so fucking much. I always thought that beat was really awesome, and I did really like Queen Latifah in the early '90s. So it was just a dope song.
We're on 7 yet. Ben.
I went to 1993 with the opening track. You remember last week when we were talking, or last time we were talking, how you had to wait a long time for like, so there was a lot of build up for this record, and I just thought it opened up so good, like when it's like 1993, and then the beat kicks in. I just thought it was a great way to open up that record. So, I always love how that album started, so I went with that one.
Yeah, I wish albums were still events like that, where you heard it all at one
Every
time.
Tuesday.
Oh yeah, every
Yeah.
Tuesday, man. I was
Yeah.
at Music
Yeah.
Land or whatever, man, spending my
Yep.
hard-earned money or allowance or whatever. All right, we are at 6, and I'm going back to 1993. But I'm going with Take It to Your Face. Again, KG is just an amazing producer who seems to fit Treach's flow and voice perfect. Like he's making the beats for Treach. And it's just a hype song, a bit faster. Treach destroys it. And again, Vinny holds his own. I know he's always looked on as the lesser one, well, because he is, because that's Treach. But Vinny's not as whack as some people want to claim. I think he's a solid MC. He's just stuck being next to Treach. But the best part of this song to me is at the end of every verse, they say you get a little taste of the bass, and just for like a split second, the boom, just real deep bass hits just on the word bass. And if you're just listening in headphones or something, you can't even tell it's there. But with bigger speakers, it just rattles. But it's just a second. And I thought that was just genius to throw that little thing in there. It's the little things that always get me. And that was one that definitely got me. So Take It to Your Face was my number 6. Raven, what's your number 6?
Number 6, I went to N95's Poverty's Paradise with Feel Me Flow. I love that single. I love that beat. I think it's still a great beat. The flow is still great. Man, I used to ride around on my bike to my brother's house, just listen to that tape in my Walkman every fucking day on my bike. Just God, the vibe of that album was so good. And Feel Me Flow is just such a good, fun song.
And Naughty's Back Like Vertebrae. I remember
Yep.
that. I remember being like, oh shit, that's really cool. No, that was like almost like a summertime vibe with lyricism. Number 6, Ben, what you got?
I went to 1999. On the Run. I loved how they took the Public Enemy feel and kind of nodded their heads to them, and so you can't go wrong with that. So I just that song always kind of stuck out to me on that record.
And that album was the last one that I look at like a true Naughty album because I didn't hate on Icons, but without KG, it just had a different feel and vibe. Even though there's songs on my honorable mention that are from there, I kind of looked at Nature's Fury, although they came back with that Anthems Inc. But good minds think alike. So my number 5 is Feel Me Flow. You pretty much hit it all for the same reason, and such a memorable hook. It's simple, like all their anthems are. They're real simple hooks, but they're memorable and they work, and you're always singing along. And Treach destroys his verses. I remember this video being played on MTV nonstop, which was fine with me. But just a great summer anthem, and I didn't think anyone else would have this on their list because, especially on Poverty's Paradise, it's kind of a dark feel. And then Feel Me Flow is real up tempo and light, but I love it. So Feel Me Flow was my number 5. I know it's not yours, Raven. So what is your number 5?
So my number 5, man, this is a real song, and it's a song where each verse you can hear the emotion in Treach's voice get stronger and stronger. And it's the last release on Tommy Boy Records. It was Mourn You Till I Join You from the 1997 Ride soundtrack. And of course, dedicated to his boy Tupac. Each verse got stronger. You can hear it in his voice as he's rapping. Like Treach had more dedication to Pac than fucking Snoop did.
And they were like for real homies too. That was an honorable mention. That was probably like my number 11 or 12. And you're right. I mean, you could tell it was heartfelt and good video too with all the clips of, Tupac and stuff. And no, I was hoping that would make someone's list just so people knew all these people who weren't even around in that era who, talk about Tupac, kind of seek this out. You might not have known this, one, you're just listening to the main Tupac songs, but Mourn You Till I Join You, Ride soundtrack. I remember Onyx being on the Ride soundtrack. I can't remember who else. That's irrelevant. Number 5, Ben, what you got?
I went with Craziest, Poverty's Paradise. I had the maxi single CD of this, which I think was out way before the album, because I remember we were bumping the shit out of that for a long time, and then the album actually dropped. But it was at the time, it was just cool to get some new naughty. So yeah, it was the single that grabbed me, because there was like 4 different versions or whatever on there. But yeah, I always loved that song.
Yeah, back in the day when every maxi single had like 3 remixes of it. You don't really hear that anymore. Not that things really come out as maxi singles, but
Or a bonus track
or a
was
bonus
always
track.
yeah,
Yeah. Just
like the
this
iced
is
tea mixed up. You had to get the
oh yeah.
I
That's
knew
a
this.
yep, yep.
Yeah.
Or I was just talking to someone the other day, totally unrelated to Naughty by Nature, but on the summertime, I believe it's the summertime maxi single, there's a song, unreleased song called Down South. And I can remember thinking, why would, Will Smith make a song about down south? But it's a song about giving someone an uppercut, like someone pissing him off and he's hitting him. And that was the same era as you saw my blinker bitch. It's like he had
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
pent-in anger that year,
Yeah.
But yeah, just to buy
Yeah.
a maxi single and be like, oh, an unreleased song. I mean, that was the greatest feeling ever.
The biggest one was there was a song called "Hard Like a Criminal" by Das Effects that was only on the Straight Out the Sewer maxi single, and it was the first. It was like it was uncensored. Like there was always. I'm sorry if I'm getting off track, but
No, go
there
ahead.
was groups that it was like Das Effects, EPMD, and Public Enemy. It used to always bug me how they half their shit was censored,
Yep.
but then half wasn't, and it always bugged the shit out of me. So like I remember getting that Das Effects Straight Out the Sewer maxi single had that song "Hard Like a Criminal," and it was just raw as fuck. And it was finally it was uncensored, so that was really cool.
All right. Number 4. Can't wait to talk about this song. Love this song when this album came out. 1991, self-titled 1, 2, 3, featuring Apache, Lakim Shabazz of the Flavor Unit. Like I hinted to, Apache. That Apache Ain't Shit album is like top to bottom so amazing. And Apache brings it in here, shows you how dope he is. And it's a great beat. I love the DOC sample. 1 and then comes the 2 to the 3, and it just works so well. And to this day, in 91, it made me smile and laugh. And in 2024, it still makes me smile and laugh when Apache says, I'll cut your fucking head off and use it as a Christmas tree ornament. I don't know why it makes me laugh, but it makes me laugh. And the more I think about this song, it should have been in like my top 2, but it just got kicked back a little bit. But 1, 2, 3, what a damn good song. Treach kills his verse too. So that was my number 4. What about you, Raven?
So number 4, I kind of laughed at when I was making this list, but I went with Shane McMahon's theme song from WWE 2007.
Who you would pick it?
Here
I
comes the
knew it.
money.
I
Man,
want
it's such a fucking good theme song.
I wanted to call it, but I didn't want to influence you. I almost texted you the other day.
Yeah, now it's funny. A lot of times, almost every time a rapper appears in a WWE theme song, it makes my list. I think
Mhm.
once it didn't happen, but and that was like Snoop, I think. But yeah, no, I get hype every time I hear Shane McMahon's theme song. I fucking love it. If I'm playing 2K, a lot of times I use his theme song. So
And you know what? It was an honorable mention because you're right. It is good. I can remember first hearing it and being like, is that Treach? No,
right.
no, Naughty by Nature didn't make a theme song for Shame. Did it? Wait, that's Naughty by Nature. But you're right, especially compared to theme song. I mean, it's a dope song. That's funny you picked it. I knew you would pick it, but I didn't want to call it last time I was wrong. Number 4, Ben.
Went to 1993 3 with Ready for Them, with featuring Heavy D.
Yeah, and D does
I
two
just love the whole
verses on
vibe of
there.
that, and
Yep.
yeah, and I thought Heavy D, came out pretty hard on that. He always did kind of his thing, but
Mhm.
I just thought he stepped it up for that song there. Yeah, that's always a good one to sing along to in the car. So got to go with that one.
And every once in a while, D would come like with hard, showing he could do
Yeah.
hard lyrics. Like on his one album, he had that posse track with like Biggie and who else was on it. But it was like an early Notorious B.I.G. was on it, and a few other people. Now I'm had drawn a blank. But he would always sprinkle things in. Or he also did the posse track "Don't Cuss." But yeah, rest in peace to Heavy D. I mean, he's remembered for
Oh,
those
yep, I remember
poppy,
that.
yeah, the poppy, nothing but love. But he was a real MC. But we made it to the top three, and I'm staying in 1991, but kind of like you, Ben, I'm going to the Juice soundtrack, Uptown Anthem. Such an amazing soundtrack from an amazing movie. Pretty much everything else has been said about it, but Treach kills it as always. Again, Vinny does just fine. But the hook is from Funky 4 Plus 1. It's the joint. If you listen to that song, you'll recognize that hook. It's the joint. And that's sampled in here, which always kind of made me smile. But what a amazing song. Really shows you early 90s East Coast hip hop. Perfect example of it. So Uptown Anthem. Made my number three. What made yours, Raven?
I went to 91 again, and I went with Yoke the Joker. I love that beat. I love that flow. It's just such like a hard song, and it just opens up so fucking good.
Yeah, Treach just destroys it. I'm singing it in my head now. And that's the first song.
Yep, yep. It opens that album so well.
Well, number three, Ben.
I went to the self-titled with OPP. Like you said, the video, the dropping of the ring and
Yep.
just kicking it off, and that song was so huge at that time.
So big.
Like
So big. Yep.
like I mean, I think they still tour with like the I Love the '90s.
Yep.
They did. They do.
With-
I actually saw them in the
Yep.
I Love the 90s tour in Green Bay maybe
Oh,
eight,
okay.
8 to 10 years ago. And Naughty killed it.
Yep. So I know. I think. It'll be like Salt and Pepper, Vanilla
Yep.
Ice, CNC Music Factory, kind of some of those
Yep.
popular people, but then they'll have like Naughty by Nature. Or, I think Tone Loc was on one year.
Yep.
But yeah. So I mean, that just shows how big that song was because they don't fit in with the rest of those cats.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like they can do that stuff with the OPPs, the Feel Me flows and stuff like that.
To number two, I'm going for the last time to Poverty's Paradise. What a great album. I know I said that a few times. I'm going with Craziest. Just the vibe of this song. It's a perfect example of mid-90s East Coast hardcore hip hop. And like we said, the beat is perfect. And this concept in hip hop has been done over and over where you just shout out different cities or different boroughs or different hoods or whatever. And it works every time. It's a winning formula that never gets old. You're there wanting to see if your city gets mentioned, or it's funny to me how, in a good way, it always works. You can go back and if you start thinking about it, name 20 hip hop songs where basically the hook is just shouting out different hoods or towns. Just such a great song. And if they would have mentioned Milwaukee, maybe it would have made my number one. Something that, Treach, think about that next time you make an anthem. But no, Craziest. What a dope song. What a great song. That was my number two. Raven, what's yours?
And they mentioned Baltimore, but not Maryland. Like they didn't mention my hometown. They
Yeah, I
mentioned
didn't even
Baltimore.
get
So I
any.
gave them like half credit. I give them, But number two, I stayed in 91 yet again. For 1, 2, 3. With
Nice.
Apache. Yeah, it's just I love that fucking beat, and it's that song got that tape taken away from me for like 2 days because I was blaring the fuck out of it out of my room when I was like 10. My dad walked by and just like nope, but I ended up getting that shit back. Yeah, I love that fucking song.
Ben, what is your number two?
Number two, I went self-titled with Let the Hose Go. it was really cool going back to all this stuff. And like as soon as that came on, I just felt like I was in a house party with a 40 in my hand. Just the way
Right.
the bass hits. It's just a great song. You're having fun and it's easy to sing along to the chorus. It's just a really good joint. So I was like, oh shit, I forgot about this song actually. And then I was like, it came on. I'm like, here we go.
That was an honorable mention. Treach, I mean, it kills every song almost, but he really kills that song too. And great beat. Oh, I'm glad that made someone's list. So this brings us to number one, and my number one has not been brought up by either of you. So once again, we're going for first time history. Will everyone have the same number one? We came close one time, only one person was off. But I'm going to the self-titled 1991's Naughty by Nature, and I'm going with Ghetto Bastard. Now, on the original pressing, it was listed as Ghetto Bastard. All pressings after that, it was changed to Everything's Gonna Be All Right. It's the same song, but just amazing storytelling by Treach. Makes you feel like you're in the ghetto with him, like you can feel his pain in every word. Amazing beat by KG. It samples No Woman, No Cry in the hook. It's a classic, just gritty video. I mean, you look at Treach and you just like feel the pain, like that guy's been through some shit. And it'll always be my favorite Naughty song. It just really, really hits me. And I don't know why. Probably because they released it as a single that they had to change it from Ghetto Bastard. But all other pressings after that first one was called Everything's Gonna Be All Right. So that was my number one. Raven, what about you?
Ghetto Bastard. Yeah, it had to be.
Right?
It painted such a vivid picture between the video and the song that like I didn't live in the ghetto, but you could see it. You know what I mean? Like it was just a very real, vivid fucking song, and I love that fucking song. As soon as you told me we were doing Naughty by Nature, that was the one song that was already locked into place before I even started.
That's exactly what I did. I wrote Ghetto Bastard at number one,
Yep.
and then figured the rest out. Okay, Ben, is Ghetto Bastard your number one?
Unfortunately, no.
No.
It's Everything's Gonna Be All Right.
Oh, we did it. We did it.
Made history. Look at that.
Yep. So yeah, same for me. I was like, I already knew my number one. I always love that song, and part of it may be a little petty, like when he went in on his dad, right away. Like my dad was kind of a dickhead, so I was like, yeah, motherfuck you, dad.
Yeah. No, it holds up.
No,
So
but
well.
I mean, all joking aside, yeah, no, I mean, yeah, just a great song, great storytelling. Like you said, the video, you can feel Treach's pain in his writing. So that was my number one as soon as I knew I was doing the list.
So we've come close, but we finally did it, Raven. Everyone picks the same song. Finally. It only took 97 episodes. Honorable mentions. If you're joining me for the first time, if a song doesn't get brought up by anybody and I thought it needed some love, I'll quick shout it out. You guys, we covered everything that I had for the Naughty by Nature album. But from 1993, Hip Hop Hooray. Nobody picked Hip Hop Hooray. I want to say it's because it was too played out, but you know what? I heard OPP just as much.
Probably more,
yeah. Hip Hop Hooray was definitely getting played in soccer moms' minivans, though. But I still sing along. Also from that album, Hood Comes First, and It's On. From Poverty's Paradise, Hang Out and Hustle, and It's Working with Rotten Rascals. From Nature's Fury, I got Radio, and Dirt All by My Lonely, which might be one of Treach's hardest. He raps so hard on there, even harder than what he usually does. From Icons, the only one I could pick that I really felt I truly would put close to a list was New Jersey to LA. I really liked that song. I couldn't find nothing off of Anthems Inc. It's better just not to talk about that album. Everything else got brought up. Are we missing anything else?
Written on Your Kittens, and I had written Loyal to the Game with like Tupac and then from the Above the Rim soundtrack, but I guess technically that's a Treach track, so that's why I left it off.
Well, I would have let that count. We've had worse.
Oh, I've done way worse when it comes to breaking the rules, but I tried to keep it a little more just in it for Naughty because Vinny deserves some love too.
I wanted to bring up for an honorable mention.
Yeah.
It probably doesn't count, but on D Nice's second record, "The Time to Flow," I thought Treach was remarkable on that.
Another great record. You know, D Nice had 2 albums, but I love that record.
25 to Life, yeah.
Yeah, KRS-One was on a song. Too Short was on a
Too
song.
Short.
That was
Yeah.
a really, really good album.
Yeah.
And No Peace, I also almost squeaked in there for Murder Squad.
Oh, nice.
What a great
nice.
posse track. What a great posse track. All right, I'll let you guys be. Until next time, have a great night. And talk
Yeah,
to you guys
thanks,
next
guys. I
time.
appreciate it.
Yeah, have a good one.
Appreciate you guys.
Still a b-boy, from the old to the new, still a b-boy. Too bold for the school, still a b-boy. East coast to the west, b-boys worldwide, we supposed to be blessed. Still a b-boy, from the old to the new, still a b-boy.